Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist and philosopher who was born August 9th, 1896 and died September 16th, 1980. His focus was on young children and their connections of how they learn. He had many educational ideas and beliefs throughout his life and career as a psychologist and philosopher. Piaget said that children learn things on their own without the influences from adults or children. They learn as they go with the things that they are playing with and surrounded with. He said that children are motivated to learn by nature. They don't need rewards or motivation to continue to grow and learn. He believed that children go through different stages of cognitive development, and this was his main focus in how he created his theory. Piaget thought that children took an active role in their learning, and he said that children are encouraged to discover themselves through interaction with the environment rather than the presentation of ready-made knowledge. So, for example, children learn better on their own and with experiences and what's in their environment, the things they're involved with, rather than teacher-made activities and curriculum. Piaget said that children go through all of these stages, but they may go through these stages all at different rates and speeds. Because of this, teachers may make special effort to arrange classroom activities. And so teachers just need to be aware that just because one kid is going through one stage, that not all those children will be at that same stage. The teacher should also be adapting to the children's needs and skill level rather than teaching the next concept. So just because one person may get it doesn't mean, and is thinking at the next level, doesn't mean everybody else is ready for that next concept. When children are playing, that's when they're learning and they're really building on that existing knowledge, that that's when those concepts are sold and really making that connection with the children. His understanding was that intelligence is something that develops and changes with time as children grow older. And this is when he started to make an impact in the education system. This is when he developed his cognitive developmental theory. And this is because he noticed patterns of how children thought based on their age. And so what did he do? He simply observed and did many, many studies on children of all different ages. And he was observing how the children were processing the world around themselves. So from his observations, he came up with a four-stage model. The first stage is the sensory motor. This is for infancy, 0 to 2 years old. And children learn about the world through movement and interaction with their environment. So they're really based on, they can't communicate, so they're really needing to get that learning through objects and materials and their environment and what they're surrounded by, rather than being able to communicate. The second level is the pre-operational stage, and that's 2 to 6 years old. And this is children they're learning more language. They are able to communicate a little bit more, and they're able to communicate through pictures and words. And so in this stage, children are not yet able to conceptualize abstractly, and they need concrete physical situations. The third stage is the concrete operational stage, and this is for children ages 6 to 3 years old. This is when children begin to think logically and understand concepts. They're able to add and subtract, so they kind of understand the opposites. And so they see both sides of the scenario. And they're able to classify objects and organize their thoughts. The last stage is the formal operational stage. And this is 11 years to adulthood. And this is really when they begin to think abstractly. And so what does it mean to think abstractly? It's basically a level of thinking about things that are removed from the facts of here and now. So for example, a concrete thinker can think about one particular situation. So for example, they can think of one particular dog, whereas the abstract thinker can think of the whole picture. They can think about dogs in general rather than that specific one dog. So I want to leave you with two famous quotes from Piaget, and I want you to think about how these relate to Piaget's theory, the cognitive developmental theory, as well as his beliefs. The first one is, play is the work of childhood. And the second quote is, children require long, uninterrupted periods of play and exploration.